Hey everyone, welcome back to Seven Shepherds Farm. Today we're going to talk about what we do with our sheep when they are no longer being productive parts of our farm. So last week we had a few instances where we had some sheep that were no longer being productive for our farm. They had some problems, and I'm going to go through each issue and tell you about it. Be transparent just like we are in this channel. So last week we had a ewe when we were moving them out of that big bottom field, and she literally stepped in a huge hole and broke her leg. It was just one of her legs. She broke it clean, and we literally watched it happen. We weren't really sure what we were going to do with her. She was getting around just fine on the other three legs, but the very next day we had another ewe lamb that, like a ewe lamb that would have been lambing. She threw out her back end, and whenever that would have happened to a cow, we would have had the vet come out and put the back end back in and stitch it up. And it would have cost us some money, but the cow would have been worth it because a cow's worth a lot more than a sheep. But in the sheep world, in our opinion, it's not worth the $250 vet fee to fix a $250 ewe lamb. So basically, we're not going to spend more than what that ewe is worth to fix a problem like that. So since we had the one that broke her leg the day before and the one who threw out her back end, we decided that would be enough to get our freezer going and our home butcher shop. So we went ahead and turned the freezer on and slaughtered both of those lambs. And then we let them hang for a week, and today we processed them. But a couple days later, we also had another ewe that was having trouble giving birth overnight. And whenever we found her the next morning, we pulled her lamb, but she was completely paralyzed in the back end. So we kind of gave her some sugar water and things like that to try to get her moving again. We held her upright several times a day for the next 2 days, and she just never recovered. Her back end remained paralyzed. So we also slaughtered her and processed her with the other two. So altogether we had 3 lambs hanging in our home butcher shop cooler last week. And so that's just an example of something that you can do if you have animals that maybe have an injury or are no longer being productive for you. There are options, and sending them to a sale barn could be an option. That wasn't an option for these ewes last week. They were all scenarios where they needed to be put down on the farm. And so we took that and made the best of it, and we will have our freezer full of fresh lamb meat now. So today we're just going to kind of show you how we process those lambs, kind of in a quick, easy way to just get them in our freezer. We didn't spend a lot of time on it. We didn't do it fancy. We just kind of used our home equipment, got them in the freezer, and now we have some fresh lamb to eat. So anyways, that's just kind of a scenario of what we do living on a farm, how you can make the best of a situation like that whenever it happens. So anyways, follow along with us today, and we're going to show you a quick, easy way to process these lambs and get them in your freezer if you would have a situation arise where you'd like to make the most out of your meat. Okay, so this is our handy dandy butcher shop. We're going to take you inside and show you around. This is something anybody could put at their house, on their homestead. It's very useful. We use it often. Okay, so inside we put this tin on the walls just for easy cleanup. This is our rail where we can slide the animals back into the cooler section. And then we kind of made a room off the back for the actual walk-in cooler. We put some flooring down, but we're actually getting ready to tear the flooring out and just kind of painting the floor, just because the flooring, it moves a lot whenever we have to move these freezers around. So anyways, this is it. This is just an old shipping container turned into a butcher shop. We have a bunch of our chest freezers that have a lot of frozen foods for our farm to table store in here. So we store a lot of meat for that in here. And then obviously we just got a beef back from the processor, so we have all these boxes that we need to burn yet, just from that meat. But this is, as you can see, our work table, our saw that we are not using for the sheep today, and then what else do we have in here? It's just a dehydrator. Yes, this is like our big, more like industrial type grinder. Today we're just going to use the grinder from our KitchenAid mixer just because it's not very much meat, but typically we would get out the big grinder. We have a lot of like meat tubs in here, and then we have a sink for cleanup. But like I said, today with all the kids being home, we are not using the actual butcher shop. We're just taking the lambs over to the house and doing it over there. So all I brought over today was the vacuum sealer and the knives. So this is the walk-in cooler portion of the shipping container. We always have a cool bot on like a air conditioner unit back here. That's what keeps it cold in here. So we're gonna take this last ewe over to the house and get it butchered up. A lot of insulation on the wall back there, but anyways, we could go on a whole butcher shop tour.
When we clean it up. It's full of junk right now.
Yeah.
Can you shut the door, Max?
We weren't really expecting to do a butcher shop tour today, but we thought it would be fun.
Dad, can I help you put it on the meal?
Yeah.
I can put it on the meal.
Why don't you grab that hoof?
Not on the back of the meal, and I would put one more.
All right.
Personal consumption.
Yes, this is for our own personal consumption. Hey, buddy, wait, Dad has to turn all that off. All right, taking it over to the house for our last one to butcher.
Okay, so we had a couple cull ewes here that we're just gonna butcher up really fast. We didn't want to get all of our butcher equipment dirty in our actual butcher shop, so we brought them up to the house. And I'm no expert to this, but this is kind of making we're going to get something out of these ewes at least. So we're basically butchering them kind of like you would a deer. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to cut them up into the primal cuts here, and then get what we can get off of them basically. So, but we're not going to spend all day butchering this thing either. So, all right, so here's the back. Hold on, Max. The back end, you want to find kind of where the hip bone ends, and you can do this. I didn't want to get our saw dirty because it takes like half an hour, 45 minutes to clean that thing. I could be done butchering these by then. So I'm just we're gonna do it all with like a sawzall, a hand saw, and a knife. So just find them basically where the hip ends. That's gonna be your Lego lambs here in the back. Watch out, Hux. I want to get you at the back end here. Just try to put a little separation in between those vertebrae. Whoop, whoop, there it went. So just pop that vertebrae, then you don't have to use a saw. Cut the meat with the knife. And, oops, just broke the back right there.
What the?
And we'll use the saw for some stuff.
Why do you need the saw for a little bit of stuff?
I'll give the boys something to do. Keep them busy.
What the?
Here you go. Why don't you cut that into little pieces, buddy?
That's a baby.
Here, there's another baby piece. So here's basically 2 Lego lambs, but then you also have the hip in there. So you can kind of pick where you want to make the Lego lamb in, but I'm just going to kind of end it right in this general region. I'm going to cut a little bit of meat with it.
I'm going to do a little one.
So I'll get as much meat as I can on that thing. So we're just mainly cutting it up into kind of your primal cuts here. We're not going to get too crazy with it. Here's a way to, earlier I was able to do this without even saw. And then I couldn't do it the second time. Here's the hip bone. That's what I should have, yeah. So if you dislocate the hip, then you actually don't even need the saw right there. All right. So there's the leg of lamb. And then we'll just kind of clean that up here. That's more Courtney's station right there. And then we'll do the same for this other side. Let's see if I can do it this way. Kind of cut it a little farther back and then.
Maybe take this way.
No, don't cut that one yet.
Like this slice.
I'm not ready for that one yet.
Like
When you got good help, they can keep you hopping too. Don't give them enough meat to cut up, they just start cutting on their own. That makes this process go even faster. If you're a real butcher out there watching this, well,
crazy boy.
sorry. Making a mess out of this, but
Yeah.
it's gonna get done. And I'm gonna cut the front shoulders off. These are actually really easy, especially like, I don't know, if you ever cut up a chicken, I mean, it's almost the same. You just kind of follow that, you just follow the seam down. It pretty well shows you right where to cut.
You do it.
It just comes right off. It's really easy. And then this will be too big. This whole thing will be too big for a package, our vacuum sealer. So I'm going to cut it right here. And we'll have like a lower shank. And I'll clean that up. I'll cut that off too, just so it's not dirty. But I'll have like a lower shank and a, and then this. A lot of people, you could cut that into, either put that in a hamburger, you could take all the bones out of it and chunk up the meat and make that into whatever, lamb burger. But we're just going to leave it in there because we like those roast. So here's how I cut this thing. I'm just going to use the saw for just a second. Watch out, Max. There's probably a way to,
This is a nice middle piece.
there's probably a joint in there I could have found too, but it's faster just to cut the saw. Yep. Ran out of battery power, so I'm back to the old handsaw. Oh, maybe. That or I was have somebody go get me another battery. Anyway, so this will be the shank. We'll throw them. You don't have to drive. We don't need you driving the mule anywhere. Trust me.
I'll drive the
Crazy.
mule and get you another battery.
Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but I choose life.
I'll just zoom it over there and get you another battery. Let's throw it.
Yeah, make it.
Video? Why?
All right, this is the boys' job here. They cut all the meat off the bones, off the trimmings here.
Starting to.
Yeah,
We're almost.
you've been hard at work, haven't you?
Yep. Yeah, last one. Yeah, actually, only one more left, my jamboo.
This is what we will use for our ground lamb burger. Put that through the grinder here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna do that right now.
But this is the boys' job. Cut all the meat they can off of these trimmings.
And then Dad the biggest piece.
Yeah.
We're turning up the tiniest piece. Yes. Let's turn up the U part, the U belly, the belly.
Can I have her belly?
Turn up the U
What are you
belly.
cutting out? Making big pieces into little pieces?
Yeah. And what do we do with this? It's the white stuff.
As you can see, there's not many scraps. This is our scrap pile, right?
Right? You smacked it in there, and you smacked it outside, and dogs didn't eat the bone.
Dogs eat the bone.
That's our dog pile.
Yeah.
boys are doing such a good job. The dogs aren't going to have much to eat.
Sand piles. You do it?
Yep, good. Excellent. This is the shank. So clean it up.
We get this. And then
We still have a little more work to do with it. No, we're gonna leave that as is, more or less. So we have 2 shanks on the front, 2 blade roast, and then the 2-legged lambs.
All right, we'll get
So
those
far.
vacuum sealed, and then Jake's going to start disassembling this for the loins.
Yep. So this is where the saw would be really nice, actual bandsaw. But like I said, I don't really want to get that thing dirty with just a little bit of meat. So I'm just gonna get these flanks off. Max cut them up. And instead of splitting the spine and doing all that work with the saw, I'm just gonna put a little pressure on it again. Find the spot in the vertebrae where there it is. You just break it. Actually got one too far down, but it's all right. Okay, so here's all the loins. So this is where you get like your lamb chops and stuff from. This part and all the way down the back. So I'm gonna trim this up a little bit more before I start. Next, cut that up. Then I'm just gonna take the loins off whole. I'm cutting it just with my knife right down the back, and I'm just gonna follow the backbone spine right there. And just take the loins out whole. It's kind of like an inner loin and outer loin here. I'm on the inner loin right now. That'd be like an upright, just the top side. And they're gonna be really small because this was not like planned to be butchered, but so it's not like a fattened out lamb or something. It'd be a lot bigger on a fat lamb. I'm just going right along the spine. So there's really nothing left on there. So I'm just leaving it just like that. It's kind of like I said, like a white-tailed deer. Just take the loins off. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Use the outer loin. So let's cut right down one side of the backbone. So you hit the ribs. And once you're in there, it's kind of probably hard to see, but just want to follow the bone. And not leave anything on it if you can.
See this? Whole families and family.
All right.
Good job.
So there's one piece. And then we'll take this silver skin off the back. But let me go ahead and pull the other one out first. Max probably got the sharpest knife in the house.
5 times.
Sharpen it 5 times.
They all sharpen. I need all sharpen. I'm gonna sharpen it like 1 time. What's the next again?
Then here's the rest of the, what would be a lamb chop. We're making, just cutting the loins out, taking the bones off. Okay. Let's cut all the way up the back. You can kind of see where it ends, more or less. So I'm just gonna follow the top of the ribs. I cut plenty far up. I can always cut the extra off.
Oh, thank you. Here, I just say thank you. Yeah, you say thank you.
All right, and some of this little chunk here is neck meat, so let's throw that in the burger. But that's the loin. Now I'll take this cord out. Yeah. Just go down the other side. As close to the backbone as you can. There's your other loin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Then really the only thing we mess with, I mean, if this was a really fat one, you could cut in between all these ribs and stuff, but this one's, like I said, we didn't fatten it out. So I'm not gonna worry about the rib meat. I'm just gonna cut a little bit of this neck meat off. So there's quite a bit of that. That'll go on the burger.
Oh.
And then here's the brisket. What would have been the brisket. Cut it off. We'll just put it in the ground meat as well. Actually getting quite a pile there.
This is nice meat.
Yep.
All right.
That's basically it. There's really nothing. I mean, it might look like a lot on here, but we're gonna go feed that to our chicken dog. There's really nothing left, hardly.
Costs money to feed the dogs too. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like here, it looks like the big chunk of meat is just bone. I mean, I can just feel with my finger the bone right there, so it's not worth it to me.
Okay, so this is the easy part, just packing it and vacuum sealing it all. This takes no time at all. We have 2 different size vacuum seal bags that we use for our butchering. So like a bigger, wider one and a smaller one. So these loins here, I'm just putting them in the smaller bag. And as you can see, like the leg of lamb went in a larger bag and the roast went in a larger bag. So out of all 3 of these used, we got, 2 leg of lambs out of each one and 2 lamb roasts out of each one. And then we'll have 2 bags of loins out of each one. So makes really good pile in our freezer for the summer. We don't usually typically raise a sheep out for us to eat. We just kind of, if something like this happens, we have it in our freezer. Otherwise, they mostly all go to market. Get these last loins in the bag. The ground lamb, we will let that sit in the refrigerator to kind of cool and harden back up before we put it through the grinder, because it grinds better if it's cold and stiff. So we'll have to finish that up here a little bit later. And we will just vacuum seal the burger as well whenever we get done with it. And that's it for the day. So I think from start to finish, it took us about 30 minutes per lamb, plus getting it all out, cleaning it all up, vacuum sealing it. By the time we get all that ground and everything, you're talking about 3 hours for 3 lambs total for processing them. So we think it was worth it to have some fresh meat in our freezer rather than just putting them down and not doing anything with the meat. So we thought it was worth it to do something like this. But you can leave a comment down below and let us know what you do with your animals that are not being productive on the farm anymore, or if this would be something that you would do on your farm, or if you do something different, let us know in the comments down below. Okay, so here's the finished product. This is 3 lambs worth cut up quickly and in our freezer. We made the most out of it. We have some ground lamb, like we said. Here's some of that leg of lamb, some lamb roasts, and tenderloin, which we will cut up and either fry or grill. So anyways, this is what we got out of those 3 smaller ewe lambs that were not being productive on our farm anymore. So altogether, we got 50 pounds of meat for our freezer. And then obviously we used the bones that were left for one of our guardian dogs. So that will feed her for the week. So whenever this, I think we mentioned it earlier in the video, but in case we did not, this is only for our own personal consumption, just for our family. This is not anything we would sell. This is just for our family to use. But lamb in our farm to table store averages around $16 a pound. So if we were to, like if this would have been lamb we were selling in our store at $16 a pound, that's $800 worth of meat. So it's, it's a lot of meat for ewes that need it to go anyway. So it was a good use of our time, a good use of this meat, and we're thankful to have it in our freezer for the summer months. So thanks for following along on this different kind of video today, and we'll be back to rotationally grazing. We moved the sheep again today, but we just thought that this might be a different kind of video for this week to kind of show you what we do with some of our animals. Thanks for watching on Seven Shepherds Farm. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe at the bottom. Thanks.